What up? You already know what it is. It's Listo on the beat, kicks by Listo. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so I know you already read from the title. These are some custom shoes I did for Southside Hoodlum. So pretty much I just want to get into it real quick, how I even had it happen. There was an event going in San Antonio locally that I knew he was going to be a part of, like a meet and greet. I took that as an opportunity to be like, yo, I can, as far as this meet and greet, like gift him a pair of shoes. I really fuck with his music. I like what he does for the city and everything. So I was like, hell yeah. So I really didn't think it was going to happen. I DM'd him. I think a couple of days went by, maybe even a week. And it was the Sunday night before the event, or the week of the event. The event was on a Friday. So I had pretty much 4 days to do it. So he responded with his size of shoes, because I can't make a custom pair of shoe and just guess on his size and hope they fit him. That was the whole point of the DM. So once I got his size, on Monday I went to went to Shoe Palace actually, Ingram Mall, and got a blank white Air Force One. So started with that. What's not in the video that you don't see is that first thing I did was I sanded down the areas that I was going to paint. I did this because the shoes have a factory finish on them. If you don't paint on a unprepped surface, what happens is that the paint tends to not stick as well. Any type of minor scratches will rip off that paint. So that's why it's always a good idea to make sure to do proper prepping whenever you're customizing the shoe. So like I said, I'll sand out the area, and then I'll use acetone to remove the factory finish, and then I will let that sit. One of my earlier mistakes whenever I first started was acetoning and then 30 seconds later going straight into paint. You'll find out that the paint will not stick to the shoe, and I think my mindset at that point was I'll just add some more paint and it will go away. It covered the shoe, but thumb rub removed the paint because it had no proper way to adhere to the surface. So make sure you do that. So that's one part you don't see in the video. And then after that, I taped up all the shoes that taped up the shoe, the parts that I did not want to paint, and then using my Silhouette Cameo 2, I printed out a stencil of the dahlia flower. So the theme I was going with this shoe, Southside Hoodlum, is Mexican and Puerto Rican. I'm Mexican and Indian, so I wanted to do a Mexico themed shoe. So it's going to be the Mexico flag colors, and then so the dahlia flower for Mexico. So I used a Silhouette Cameo to cut that. I applied that stencil to the areas that I was gonna paint, and then I used a heat gun to make the vinyl stencil adhere better to the shoe, just so that I don't have to do as much touch-ups later. Typically, I will usually do a first coat of the background color, so that if anything bleeds, that first layer that bled through will be the color that's actually there. On these white Air Force Ones, you can use neutral from Angelus Paints. It's a really good product. I was just out of it, and neutral is pretty much a non-colored, so it allows you to put that first layer without messing the color of the actual shoe. So, but anyways, and what you see I'm doing right now is actually that I am now airbrushing the stencil with a flat black from Angelus. I have mixed it 50-50 with Too Thin, and I'm running that through my Badger Patriot. And so yeah, the Too Thin is what's gonna allow your paint medium to be thin enough so that it can flow properly throughout the airbrush. You'll notice that if you don't do that, it tends to get clogged a lot. And if you actually watch the video, it does happen. I actually ran out and had to order some more, so I was waiting on it. So if I'm not on a time crunch, typically I'm gonna let these shoes dry naturally on their own. I like to let them sit for 15 minutes between each layer. I was on the time crunch, so I couldn't do that. That's why you see me using this heat gun to quick up the dry process or fasten up that dry process. I like to start off with very light coats for the first like 2 to 3 layers, and then I'll come in heavy or heavier for those last 3 to 4 layers. In total, depending on the color and shade, I would say like an average around 6 to 7 layers that you'll see me apply. As you can see now, so pretty much the black paint as far as for the outline of the stencil is dried. So now I am removing all the tape around it. So just make sure you are take your times with this and allow the paint to properly dry. You'll see that if you finish painting and it hasn't dried and you try to remove the stencils and the painter's tape, that the paint will actually peel off as well, just because it hasn't finished this drying process. So just be mindful of that. And then yeah, so pretty much that's what I'm doing. By the way, all the music that's playing is actually my beats. So I have 2 Instagram handles right there. One's my music, one's my shoes. So people that are listening to this, if you actually make music, DM me. I do affordable beats for prices. So yeah, just let me know. All right, guys, I'll catch you in a bit. Stencil has like individual pieces, so I really was just wanting the black outline. So now I have to remove all those individual vinyl pieces so that what's left is just that black outline. Just make sure whenever y'all do this, y'all just take y'all's time, because like I said, it's very easy to depending on what kind of tool you use. I use a tool that I think it's for vinyl cutting things like this, but it has a very pointed edge, almost kind of like a needle. And if you don't go at the correct angle, you can actually go into the shoe. You can make cut marks. Yeah, it's very sharp, so just be careful with that. Take your time. This is actually a very tedious part of the process. I know you probably can't tell because it's a time lapse, but when you do stencils that have all those like individual pieces like flower petals like this one, it is very tedious to individually place them and also individually remove them like I'm doing right now. So just take your time, just because the more time you take, I mean, it's just easier. Whenever I tend to go faster, I catch myself doing a lot more mistakes, cutting into the shoe or whatever that case might be. Y'all comment and let me know what's y'all's favorite Hoodlum song. Me personally, I fuck with Orange Tape a lot. I know he just dropped a Southside story, but the one I usually bump a lot, especially when I'm at the gym, is Came Down. I don't know, it just it gets me going. But yeah, comment and let me know which ones y'all think. So in this section, I have done the outline for the dahlia flower with the stencil. I use the airbrush to apply that. But now, to add more detail to it, I'm going to add these lines that I guess I'm not really a painter in that sense. I'm just following photos, so I just know I had to add some lines. But it definitely makes a difference whenever you look at two side by side. This without those lines is pretty plain. With the lines, it adds more detail, more character to it. So Once again, this part is another thing that's very tedious. Also, depending on the size of your image, you might find it also difficult to find a brush or something that's even small enough. You'll see that some of my first strokes, depending on what angle I had this brush at, would make a wider brush stroke, which I was not going for. I wanted those more pin-like stripes. And so for me on this particular brush, I had to angle it a certain way because it wasn't brand new. So it wasn't like in the perfect shape as far as like the tip of the brush. I know another good thing to use is a toothpick. You can get some sandpaper, sand it down to where the one end is very pointy. That works really well. I just actually did not have any toothpicks this time, so I was like, okay, I'll use this little brush. And honestly, it worked. It just, like I said, just make sure to have one that's a fine tip at the end. moved on to the first section of the check mark. So I pretty much cut the check mark into two. The Mexico flag colors are a green, white, red. So the check mark will have the first two colors, the green and white, and then the red will actually be the back panel of the Nike. So pretty much, once again, I like to tape down the section that I don't want to paint. As you'll see, I don't tape around the part that I'm not painting. Some people do. Whenever you're first starting, I would recommend it because it's very easy to accidentally brush over. And you can always remove that secondary with like some acetone, but to me, it just it takes more time. And sometimes whenever I do that, the acetone will rub onto the edge of something I've already painted and then remove it. Sometimes I'll catch it, sometimes I don't. And then, yeah, to me, it just causes more of a hassle. So I just make sure to take my time though. And as you can see, I am not painting the outside edge or the ring of the check mark, just because the brush I'm using at this point is not the best for that. If I were to use it for the edge, I would bleed over a lot, and then I would have to do a lot of cleanup. So yeah, like I said, just take your time. I did about 6 coats. First 2 to 3 coats were very light, and once again, since I was kind of in a hurry, I was using the heat gun in between layers. But typically, like I said, air dry for like 15 minutes. That usually does the job. As you can see now, the check mark is starting to get more color. I know whenever those first 2 layers, they were very light. You might have thought it was going to be a different paint color, but this is the color that the paint was. So it just depends on what the background surface is. If you have a white surface with a light color, it takes a lot of coats. If it's a light surface with a dark color, it doesn't take as many. So it ranges whichever paints you use. Alright guys, so I actually forgot to take a video of the shoe whenever it was done, but these are some pictures I use in my like little photo box. Like I said, my main thing was to make it simple, not do too much, while also keeping the main overall color white, just because I really didn't know what kind of like shoes Hoodlum use as far as like colors. I know you know, rappers, they be changing their shoes out all the time, so I was like, well, with these white shoes, main color white, I think he can rock that with anything as far as for a video or for just in general. as you can see, the video did not contain some parts where I painted, and the only part that I did not put in the video was the back panel, which was the red part of the shoe. I used Angelus red and I mixed it 50-50 with Too Thin. Put it in my Badger picture, and then I airbrushed that. So yeah, guys, appreciate y'all that watch this video. Y'all know what to do: like, comment, subscribe. But if you're into these videos, let me know. I know this is my beat making channel. Really, I just post videos of my beats. But let me know if y'all want me to post more videos like this. I do make custom shoes. Y'all follow me, Kicks by Listo. Sorry, it's actually Listo, but people will pronounce it Listo, so I caught myself pronouncing it like that. But follow me at Kicks by Listo on Instagram, and Listo on the Beat on Instagram as well if you're looking for my music beat side. Appreciate y'all, and if anyone wants some shoes, DM me. All right, guys, y'all have a good one.